Are you thinking about potentially starting a solar business? Well, good. In this video, I'm going to go over the 4 ways that I know of that you can generate leads. I've been working in the solar industry for about 3 years, specifically helping solar businesses grow their companies. Now, some people have never sold solar before, and I've helped get them up to 15 to 20 deals a month. Some have sold solar before, and I've helped increase their overall sales and their revenue. One of the most important things that you have to discover is how you're going to generate leads. It's pretty much common with any business, but specifically in solar, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to list out the 4 that I'm familiar with. There is no emphasis on one or the other. They all have their positives and their negatives, which I will also go over to, but here goes. Okay, so number 1, this might be obvious, but door knocking, okay? Door knocking is a time-tested way of getting business. In fact, I get people knocking on my door all the time, selling all types of different stuff. That is one of the key ways, or a main way, that people can generate solar leads. And simply what that means is you're going and you're knocking on doors and you're trying to create interest to get people interested in sitting with you, to show them what you have to offer. Now, the benefit to that is it's free. It doesn't cost you any money. It doesn't cost you anything other than maybe gas if you drive out there, and energy. Now, the drawback to it is that it is time consuming and you have to be quick on your feet, because especially because you're reaching out to homeowners that have no idea who you are and are probably just trying to get you off the door. There's a couple of tips that I can give you in another video that go over how to actually get better at that and reduce your resistance at the door. We'll save that for another video. Number 2, everyone's favorite, paid advertising. Now, there's a lot of companies in solar specifically, or in general, that will set up marketing to run ads to a landing page and get them into a funnel. That way you can then contact them. The thing that I've seen with ad agencies, which most people don't talk about, is that generating a lead from Facebook isn't this like amazingly wild, complicated thing. It's just that you probably don't know how to do it, so it looks really wild and complicated, and that can cause you to feel like there's some like magical skill about it, or a magical company that can do something different than every other company, when pretty much most of them run the same exact concept. They just change up the wording or the funnels a little bit. I'm not shitting on paid ads, they 1000% work, but here's some of the things to keep in mind if you're gonna do that route. Number 1, it's going to be, you have to pay money for it. So it's gonna cost a significant amount of money. I recommend starting with a $3,000 to $5,000 budget for 3 months, okay? The reason why is because your strategy and how you actually approach and reach out to the leads is going to need work, right? So this isn't something that I would necessarily recommend if you're brand new starting in solar. It's just paying for ads, because essentially you're going to be testing out your skills or your abilities on people that you're paying money for. And I think that's going to cause you a lot of heartache and trouble. And when you call a lead and they don't immediately respond with, wow, this is amazing, I've been waiting for your call all day, I would fucking love to go solar with you, you're going to get pissed, and then you're going to blame the lead company, right? So that is really the take on leads. In fact, that's the only way I've ever sold solar personally, is from paid advertising. So it does work, but you have to be a little bit more systematic, and your process has to be good, right? So to recap, the benefits are that you can literally pay someone money and you can start getting names of people that are interested right away. The drawbacks are there is an upfront cost, so you're gonna have to spend money on that. And also, if your sales process and your follow-up process isn't good, right? And I don't just mean a bunch of random automations from your CRM, that's part of it. If that's not dialed in, you will not connect with these homeowners, and you will not go get them to go solar, and then you will blame the lead company, 1000%. Seen it happen in 3 years, every year, every fucking day. Okay, number three, all right, you have aged data. Now, I am not a TCPA lawyer. I have no data on that. If you're curious about all those laws, by all means, go do your due diligence. I am not a professional in that line. However, I have worked with companies, so you can check some of the videos that I have on this channel where we actually go into age data and how it works, but essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna buy age data from a person that sells it, and you're gonna call them, right? So the age data is usually cheaper than what you would spend for a hot Facebook lead or a YouTube lead, but essentially it's going to require leads, it's going to require a dialer of some kind, and it's going to require someone to call them, right? Now, if you're just starting out and you've never done this before, I always recommend that on every single one of these channels, you do it first. That way you prove concept, okay? Because if you don't prove concept, then you're going to have someone else do it for you. It's not going to work. And then you go from thing to thing, doesn't work, okay? So we're not going to do that. So in age data, again, you're basically buying lists from someone that sells age data. You're putting them to some type of software or dialer, and then basically you're calling them, you're scheduling from appointment, you're sitting and closing, right? So the benefits to age data are that it's relatively cheap in terms of how many names you can get for what you're gonna spend, right? And if you close a couple of those deals, it makes your cost per acquisition really worth it because you're not really spending a lot for the quantity of leads that you're getting. Now, the drawback is it's very, very time intensive. There are TCPA compliance issues that you also have to fend with as well. And it does take a lot of work and a bigger system and a bigger team to really grow that and get that into a consistent flow. And the number four, the fourth way that you can generate leads for solar is something that the real estate industry talks about very much. Is called skip tracing. Now, for those of you who don't know, skip tracing is simply when you go online, right? You search zip codes. There's certain softwares that allow you to do that. PropStream, Deal Machine, hell, you can even do it on Google. And what you do is you search certain zip codes in certain areas, and basically you scrape their data. So essentially you're getting names and phone numbers of homeowners that potentially live in an area. You're building together a list, and then you're cold calling them, okay? So that's something that is also extremely successful, and I've seen people sell 40 to 50 deals per month only doing that method of marketing. Now, the positive to that one is that it doesn't cost you anything, right? Anyone can go there and create a list. It does, depending on the lead services that you use, like if you use PropStream or Deal Machine, like they will charge you a fee in order to use their services, but you don't have to if you're trying to do it on a super budget. But that's something that will allow you to generate leads basically at the drop of a hat. Now, the other issue with that is if you're gonna do it like kind of the old school way where you're literally going through Google and you're mapping out all these addresses and you're skip tracing the data, it's gonna take a lot of time. So once you kind of get that figured out, you're gonna wanna hire basically a VA that can go through and do that and build out lists for you. That way you are not having to spend time doing that. But as I said before, if you do it for a little bit, right, and then you get comfortable with it, you'll be able to outsource that much easier. So again, the benefits of that, or it doesn't cost anything, and you can specifically target areas that you know might be good for solar based on income level, based on roof size, and things like that, based on your kind of local area that you should have familiar with. The downside to it is it's definitely time intensive and labor intensive, and it's going to require a lot of work up front to kind of get that process smooth and rolling. But once you figure that out, you'll be able to start generating leads. Well, that pretty much covers it for my 4 ways that you can use to start generating leads for your solar business right now. I hope it helps.